Like I said, we got to find it. We got to have some conversations about something, because I don't like losing.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Saints offense is struggling right now. Early on, there were flashes of greatness, but after Derek Carr's shoulder injury that happened against the Packers, we have seen this Saints' worst offensive performance following that matchup against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And offensive coordinator Pete Carmichael of the Saints is under fire. People are heated about some of these plays where Derek Carr is lined up at running back. And it seems like at this point, there is an obvious solution to solve all the Saints' problems, and this has been something that has been lurking in the background for quite some time. The Saints could save their season if they bring in Jon Gruden right now to become their play caller. Head coach Dennis Allen spoke about the problems on the offense, and he does not seem satisfied. We're gonna break this down. Make sure you like and subscribe for more content. In the first few weeks, the Saints offense struggled with Derek Carr. There was frustration. He was taking sacks. In the first 2 games, he was sacked 4 times each game. And this ultimately culminated in his injury in week 3 against the Green Bay Packers when he got sacked and sacked again, and then he ended up having a sprained AC joint in his right shoulder. However, in the first few games, there were times when we saw big plays from New Orleans. We saw Rashid Shaheed's speed, him being able to stretch the field. We saw Chris Olave make amazing uncontested catches, and Michael Thomas, he was efficient in the middle of the field, picking up some good receptions. And even though things did not start out pretty in the first half of the first few games, Derek Carr ultimately put up some yards, and everybody thought, hey, maybe there could be some light at the end of the tunnel. The Saints had also been unable to run the football, but Alvin Kamara was finally back against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And Derek Carr was able to tough out the injury and decided to play. There was not going to be Jameis Winston in this game, but for some reason, it still did not work out, and we saw the worst performance of the year for New Orleans Saints' offense. Derek Carr was averaging less than 4 yards in an attempt, and for some reason, all the plays were designed for him to throw behind the line of scrimmage. He actually had over double digits in throws at or behind the line of scrimmage, which matched his total on the season going into this game of passes at the line of scrimmage or behind the line of scrimmage. So people wondered, did Derek Carr rush himself back from this AC sprain injury, or did the coaching staff ask for him to tough it out? At the end of the day, the play calling stuck out to the fans. And even though Derek Carr has made his fair share of mistakes, he had a couple misses in this game going deep. Dennis Allen downplayed it and said he just missed a few times.
Look, I mean, I felt like there was 2 throws in the game really that I thought he should have been on target with those.
And this makes sense because not only are the fans focusing on Pete Carmichael, this has been a problem even before Derek Carr arrived, and many people thought the addition of Derek Carr, all the weapons on the Saints team, could be the recipe that helps out Pete Carmichael this season. And in this game, the offensive line this time held up quite nicely. They weren't giving up too much pressure for Derek Carr, so fans are left scratching their head asking what's the problem, and so are players like Alvin Kamara asking what the problem is. New Orleans.football had this video of the star running back's response after the game.
It's been 2 years since, or however long since we had that offense that was rolling. Now we kind of in this rut of, it's what it is right now. Like I said, we got to find it. We got to have some conversations about something, because I don't like losing.
And you can see it here. He talked about the problem lasting a couple years, and it seems like the players are not really pointing the finger at themselves or at the quarterback, and it seems like the fans are also directing their attention outside of the players and mainly at offensive coordinator Pete Carmichael. Derek Carr, and Raiders fans know this, he never puts the blame on anyone else. He always blames himself. He always puts it all on me.
It's not ideal, but it goes, I'm going to put them all on me and try and find a way to get the ball out, make it easier on them, make a better call. It's just not, it's unsatisfactory. The level of excellence that we operated at times in training camp, and OTAs, like, we need to get back to that for sure. But our coaches are doing a great job putting plans together, making adjustments for us. We got to make more plays for them.
And that's the thing. Derek Carr wants to keep morale up. He's not going to throw Pete Carmichael under the bus, and that's why he reiterated the fact that the Saints need to execute. The players need to execute. And this is the smart decision because you want to rally behind your coaching staff. It's still a long season. And Dennis Allen, based on what he says, what he claims to say, seems reluctant to make a coaching change. He talked about the fact that he does not think that that would be wise at this point in the season, but he does seem frustrated with the offense overall.
Well, Well, look, again, 4 games into the season, I don't think anything's drastic. I think that'd be ridiculous. It's not happening as fast as I would like for it to right now. That speed has to be accelerated. Obviously, the play caller is always the first one that has the target on their back. He's working hard to get it fixed.
And who knows if Dennis Allen is telling the truth here. All we know is that he is on the hot seat if the Saints do not perform well. It's his second year with the team, and does he really want to ride or die with Pete Carmichael here? And we saw Carr talking to wide receivers on the sidelines, and Saints fans picked up on this. You did not see Pete Carmichael anywhere near them, and it seems like they're convening by themselves. And I also noticed during the game that when they went hurry up mode a couple of times, you saw the offense be a little more efficient with Derek Carr calling more of the shots. And even though Derek Carr did not take as much of a beating this time in this game because he took so many hits the weeks prior, he still seemed frustrated in this game with the lack of productivity, and you could just see it on his face during the matchup. And the reason why Jon Gruden could really be a possibility here for the Saints is because they desperately need help. Dennis Allen needs to save his job. And keep in mind, prior to the beginning of this season, the Saints interviewed different offensive coordinators. They were thinking of moving on from Pete Carmichael. Carmichael knew this. If they did hire somebody else, he was going to be demoted, but they decided to roll with Pete Carmichael anyways. And even though they decided to do that, they still felt the need to bring in Jon Gruden, not just one time during OTAs during this past offseason. Not only did they bring him in that one time, but they brought him in again for several days during training camp, brought this guy in multiple times. And yes, Derek Carr, he says he loves Pete Carmichael, not gonna blame him. But we all know Derek Carr freaking loves Jon Gruden and would love for him to be on the sideline, a part of this team. The Saints brought in Jon Gruden because they knew they would need his help. And maybe this was set up a long time ago. Maybe they knew this was an emergency button they might press. And according to many people around the league, Jon Gruden helping out the Saints, the league did not give the Saints much pushback for having Jon Gruden help out. The league is a little scared of Jon Gruden right now because of that lawsuit, so they'll likely back off if the Saints get his help. And Dennis Allen claims he's not looking to make a coaching change right now, but that does not mean that Jon Gruden can't come along and be a play caller, be an assistant. Pete Carmichael could still be there, especially if he was willing to be demoted if the Saints hired a different offensive coordinator this past offseason. And whatever you think about Jon Gruden as a head coach, man, he is a brilliant offensive mind. He is up there with Andy Reid, up there with Sean Payton. Jon Gruden has even taught these guys a thing or two, and even though he's not the greatest at drafting, he has demonstrated throughout his life that he could lift the talent around him with his scheming and his play calling. And we know head coaches do not reveal their hand at pressers. They're never going to be completely transparent. And the Saints face an injured New England Patriots team this upcoming week without Matthew Judon, without Christian Gonzalez. If this offense still struggles in this game, and if the Saints truly believe it's not on Derek Carr, it's not on the receivers, it's not on the offensive line, then I think they're going to be compelled to, and they must make some type of a change, whether it be Jon Gruden or perhaps get Ronald Curry, who's currently on the offensive staff of the Saints right now, get him involved. We will keep you up to date on what's going to happen with the Saints this year and Derek Carr. Let me know your thoughts on this in the comments below. My name is WiFiWillie. Peace out, and I hope you have a good one.